you know, yes, before that. So first, I want to say that this is BLC, Bonney Leadership Consult, and what we do is to train leaders and train the next generation, which I'm also part. I'm part of the next generation. So yes, so that's the focus. The focus is to equip us not only for the working space, but for life. So I'll give a little history about us. Then from there, we'll talk about some of the achievements we have made over the years. So we started in 2019, and 2019 was an in-person training we had. That was our first in-person training we did. And fortunately or unfortunately, COVID came. And after that training, after our first training in 2019, we wanted to repeat in 2020, but then we couldn't because of COVID and lockdown everywhere and all that. But God being so good, we realized that, okay, why don't we make it big? Why don't we now go online, for people to, not just people around our community to get impacted, but also the whole world can also participate. So we started online. So in 2020, we went online. We had people joining from different parts of the world, and it was great. So we did that in 2020 and then in 2021. And after some time, we had to pause because of some few reasons. But then we are back. We want to continue what we started. And then, yeah, so we have a great team that works with us. They are volunteers. They work with us tirelessly. In fact, after the call, I would appreciate all of them. They've been so good. They are volunteers. They don't want a penny from the company. They just volunteer. And everything we do here is for free. Nobody charges anything. It's free. So our achievement is that we've had a lot of trainings. We've had more than 10 trainings for undergraduates and then fresh graduates and then corporate people. And then we've had some trainings with Mr. Atafin, who was the former MD for Deloitte Ghana, and so you can find it on our YouTube channel on strategy formation and then implementation. And I also had some trainings with another practitioner. She's called Dela Mauto, who is also a managing employee. She's talked about managing employee performance. And we also had another training with Alan Harkins, who is a leadership expert coach, and then the best-selling author in the US, and the best-selling author code. So we've actually done a lot. These are just a few I'm just mentioning. We've done a lot. Today we are going to focus on three main things. So today's class will be looking at problem solving, but then our focus with the span of these three sections, we're going to look at a lot of things. But today it's important for us to understand why we need to have that skill of solving problems. Now, you acknowledge the fact that when you finish first degree, everyone has first degree. Everybody has first degree. What makes you unique? What makes you stand out from your other colleagues that are going to look for the same job? Is your ability to, sometimes you go for interview, give you a case study. How are you going to go about it? All those ideas, how do you solve problems? These things that's why we call it a soft skill. These are things that you should know how to do, the tip of your finger. You should know them. So you can't know them in the classroom because you know how the case system is. It's structured in a way such that we don't learn these things in class. So when you come for trainings like this, it helps you to build yourself, helps you to know how to handle issues like how to negotiate. It's also part of what the trainings will be running for this section. So you should take advantage, and it's absolutely free. Absolutely advantage of it, and then join us as we learn or undertake this journey. So today, without wasting my time, it's already 10 o'clock and we have to start now. Before we go into the program, today our speaker is Mr. Joshua Bonney. and he is a chartered professional administrator, and he has also been training people for many years now. He's been working with the insurance industry, training people for many years now, and he's currently a training manager of one of the insurance companies. So it's a great privilege to have such a refined gentleman coming to give us a talk or to help us, equip us for the next session. For these 3 sections, he's going to handle, and I hope you are as expectant as I am, because I also want to learn. I also want to get to know how to solve problems and all that. So yeah, so for today's class, we're going to look at that. Now, the last thing I'll talk about is let's back. Give us your feedbacks about how the class went. So, you can do that by giving us a short video of yourself, telling us what you learned in class. Please, I hope you brought notebooks and pens, because it's really important that you jot something down. Very, very necessary, right? Because I have my pen here and I have my notebook here, ready to write everything that I have to learn today. So yes, for today. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, kindly write it in the chat box. Please indicate your name, because at the end of the program or the 3-day section, we're going to award certificates of participation. So please use your right names. Don't use nicknames or anything, so that we can be able to do that. I'll use this opportunity to say that when we are done, you can just do a short video of yourself, post it on your social media handle, tell us what you learned in today's training, and then tag us. Yes, tag us. We are on all social media handles: Facebook, what do you call it? Instagram. We are not on TikTok, but all the other ones we are on them. So yes, so you can do it for us. Thank you. Without wasting time, I'm going to invite the speaker for today. Please, very much.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rebecca. We are welcome to today's session. I know that's going to be interesting and fun. So quickly, let's start. Can you all see my screen, please? Can you all see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. It's good to have all of you. So this is what we are going to do today. We're going to talk about problem solving. Problem solving is key, as young people, as young graduates, as people in the working space, as people who are yet to complete, university and all that. So we'll be diving deeper into problem solving. The next 2 hours is going to be me and you. And, we are going to acquire some new skills that we can use, in our personal lives. Some skills we can use in our working environment, some working skills that we can even use as entrepreneurs, people who want to start businesses and all that. But then before we get to, the training today, I have something I call socialization is networking. Socialization is networking. So I'm going to break you guys into smaller groups. I'm going to break you guys into smaller groups for the next 3 minutes. This is what I want you to do. I want you to turn on your videos. I want you to, chat with the new people you meet on this call. Most of the times, if it's in-person meetings, you get to have this opportunity. But if it happens like it is virtual, people don't even know who is on the call. They don't make new friends. They don't network. But you know that one currency that you need for now and even the future is, networking. So I'm going to break you guys into smaller groups. Talk about yourselves. All of you should take turns. Talk about yourself, your name, what you are doing now. If you're a student, if you're working, your career ambition, you can exchange contacts, show video, just have fun. I hope it's a good idea. What do you think? Are you
Yes, we are fine with it. We are fine.
Yeah, great. So I'm going to break you guys into smaller groups now. So you see a pop-up on your phone or your laptop asking you to join a group. So just click on join and it will take you into the, breakout groups. Okay, great. I think we are all back. How was it? Who would like to share? Was it fun? Was it interesting? Did you meet someone, for the first time? Who would like to share? Any feedback, any experience? Did you enjoy it? I think one or two people, then we can zoom straight into problem solving. Yeah, so Damson, is it Damson? Go for it.
All right. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
My session was interesting, but the time was so
Short, eh?
limited.
Okay.
I got to know a few colleagues. One to be with me in the same sector. That's Jennifer,
Okay.
working with APSA. Then Daniel
Okay.
Sakwa as a communications director for this organization, as well as Kwanzaa, who is
Okay.
who also completed UMAT and done with the national service. And one master student that I will link up with. All right, that's all for now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Damson, for sharing. Yeah, so Damson met quite a number of people. That's interesting. Who else would like to share? Who did you meet? Share with us. One more person, then we can zoom straight into our problem solving today. Who will want to share? Any other person? Or the others, you didn't, socialize. You just went in there and you were quiet. Okay, I can see a hand. Okay, Rebecca.
Okay, so I also joined. So I also joined one group. I also joined one group, and then I realized that somebody speaks Spanish there. So yeah. So I was very happy.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing, Rebecca and then Damson. So let's go straight into our business for today. Yeah. So today in our meeting, we are going to look at, I hope you all can see my screen. If not, okay. You all can see my screen, right? Is it up now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So today we are going to look at what a problem is, types of problems, and steps to solving a very complex, problem. And then we'll look at some case studies. So it's not just going to be like theoretical, like, we are just going to do theories and then we move out of this place. No, we are really going to practice, whatever we are going to study, because it's very important we do that. So we'll look at what a problem is, types of problems, steps to solving a complex problem, and then case studies. These are some learning objectives at the end of the training. Participant to be able to identify the root cause of a problem. Participant to be able to identify the root cause of a problem, apply the 5 why, and also apply the MISI techniques. I don't know if any of you know about the MISI techniques, but we are also going to look at the MISI techniques, and then participant to be able to solve complex problems. I don't know if you're excited about this, but at the end of this training, you'll be able to solve complex word problems, that you face, as an individual, as an employee, as an entrepreneur, as a student, to be able to solve such problems. So let's just, play it our minds, and also go through this. Did you know, So research conducted by Harvard University has concluded that 85% of job success comes from having, well-developed soft and people skills, and only 15% of job skills comes from hard technical skills. I'm sure someone will be wondering that, what do they mean by this? That 80% of, job skills come from, soft skills and people skills. Meanwhile, in our educational settings, most of the things that are taught probably are hard skills, techniques. And I'm sure someone will even be wondering that what are soft skills, When we talk about soft skills are basically, transferable skills. So skills that you can, apply or use in every sector, everywhere. It is not job specific, and hard skills are skills that are job specific, So let's see that there are some skills that are related to engineering, or, so those things are hard skills, and Harvard is saying that 85, so if you want to succeed, as an employee, as an entrepreneur, as, a student, or as an individual, you need to have some level of what good soft and people skills. So that is why we are here. We are here this morning to enhance our soft skills, and one of them, there are a couple of soft skills that we'll be touching on, even in this session. We'll be doing problem solving. Next week we'll be doing negotiations, and then the following week we'll be doing leadership. And these are all soft skills that we need, that can be applied to every field of work. It is not job specific, Then let's look at another one. The World, Economic Forum. So the World Economic Forum Future Job, report, 2020 predicts that critical thinking and complex problem solving will be two of the, top 10 skills in the world by year 2025. We are now in 2022, and they are predicting that by year 2025, most employees would be looking out for, people with critical thinking and complex problem solving skills. So it's like we are in this training to prepare ourselves for the future. In our part of the world, like in Africa, Ghana, you don't really get the opportunity to learn some of these skills in the classroom. So if you as an individual, you do not take the initiative to look at other sources that are providing some of this training, you realize that you become useless. Let me put it that way, in the working environment. So problem solving and critical thinking is key. And in this training, we are going to talk about it. And these are interesting, statistics, and these are interesting, information. So this tells us that problem solving is key, relevant, and very important. And so I will indulge all of us, I will encourage all of us to fully participate in this training. If we break you into smaller, groups to go and discuss anything, kindly make sure that, you participate. You don't just go in there as a spectator, but you go in there, to participate, you share, your views, you share your ideas, you say something, because most of the times when you just listen, it might not profit you that much. But if you participate in everything we'll be doing, then you'll be able to go away with some skills. So I'm sure someone will be wondering, what is a problem? But before I get into my slides, I'd like to find out from you guys, what is a problem? Who would like to share? When you hear a problem, what comes to mind? What is a problem? How would you define a problem? So you can raise your hand and unmute yourself. Who would like to share? Are we on the call? It looks like we are all quiet. It's not just going to be a lecture, you only listen. No, we are all going to, participate. We are all going to share. So what is a problem? Yeah. So yeah, is it Aipa? Isel. So go for it.
Yes, please. Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. All right, so to me, I think a problem is an unexpected result. Let's say you have planned something, and then out of the plan, something pops up that you didn't actually expect to happen. So to me, that is a problem.
Okay. Unexpected results. Yeah, so it also says that something that you don't expect and it pops up, it's a problem. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Right, please share.
I think a problem is an unwelcome situation that needs a solution.
Great. Thank you very much for sharing, Bright.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Bright is saying that the problem is an unwelcome situation that needs a solution. Yes, it's true. So Isel and Bright, thank you very much for sharing. So yeah, according to whatmaster.com, a problem is a situation or an issue that requires what? A solution, in simple terms. I like simplicity, I don't like complex stuff. So in simple terms, a problem is a situation or an issue that requires a solution. As long as something requires a solution, it's a problem. So if you have to think about what to wear to work, to church, when you are going out, there's a problem and it needs a solution, so but we have types of problems and that we'll be talking about. So you should have in mind that yes, a problem is a situation or an issue that requires solution. And if a problem is something that requires solution, then you should be able to, you should be equipped enough to be able to find suitable solutions for every problem that you face. You should be equipped enough. So that is why we're having this training. To equip you with the skills that you'll be able to to come up with solutions for any kind or any type of problem you face. So let's look at some two basic types of problems. So we have simple problems and then we have complex problems. So simple problems have one problem solution. The goal is to find that answer as quickly and efficient as possible. So we would like to give you an example of a simple problem. Like, we say that it's just a very simple one. It has just one problem solution. The solution is just one. Who would like to share, what do you think would be a simple problem? Would anyone want to share an example of a simple problem? Yeah, Isel.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. I think that the simple math we always do 1+1. The answer is just 2. So that is a simple problem. So please
Okay, good. Yeah, okay. So the simple math, and your line was breaking. I don't know if it's from my internet, I couldn't hear him well, or all of you couldn't hear him that well. So someone is saying that a simple problem, for example, is being hungry. Yeah, so if you're hungry, really, it's not really very, it depends. It might be a simple problem, it can be a complex problem, because if you're hungry, you don't have money, that means you need to find ways to get money to get food. But if you have food and all, that's really the simple thing is to eat. So simple problems, as Isel said, yeah, so they are the basic things. So some of them, like, there are problems where there is, let's say you are given a mathematics, assignment. Now that is a simple problem. I know someone will be like, there are some complex, but you see, the whole thing is that there are some samples that you can infer from, so let's say you are given some x plus y equal to 5. You might find some examples like x plus y equal to 3, x plus, y equal to that. So with that solution, you'll be able to bring it onto, the new assignment or the new problem that you have. And so in simple, language, let's say you want to go out and then you need to wear, like, you don't know what to wear. It's a problem, but that's a simple problem because, you might have a couple of dresses and you just have to decide. So there's just one problem solution. But when we talk about complex problems, we are seeing the complex problem is a problem that has many variables and for which the outcome is uncertain. Now, complex problems are some problems that we have to deal with when we are working, and when you have to, like as an entrepreneur and all that, because the variables are many. The factors that affect the problem are many. And so, that is why we are in here, to acquire that skill that will be able to identify those factors and then, if possible, proffer solutions. So when it comes to complex problems, they have, so let's say that, before I cite an example, who would like to cite an example of a complex problem? A complex problem. Who would like to cite an example? Who would like to cite an example of a complex problem? One person, two people. You can write it in a chat, like how someone would, being hungry. Yeah, so they need to increase sales. Yeah, true. Thank you very much, Solomon. Sorry. Yeah, they need to increase sales. It's a complex problem because a lot of variables affect sales, So solving such a problem, you can't just solve it like the way you solve a simple problem. Economic state of a country, yes, it's a complex, problem because there are a lot of variables that comes into play when you need to solve problems like that. When you have terminal illness, marital issues, yes, it's true. When you have marital issues, there are a lot of, variables. Building a house, true. So there are a lot of variables that comes into play. So it is not that easy. So, to construct a community road, yeah, complex problem. Yeah, dealing with corruption of a country, yes, it's a complex problem. So there are a lot of variables, but today we are going to look at how, a new competitor in the market sector. Yeah, true. That is very true when you have a new competitor. So we are going to look at how we'll be able to scientifically, solve complex problems. So we are going to look at some steps to solve complex problems. Some steps to solve complex problem. And we are saying that, the first thing to do to solve a complex problem, the first thing to do to solve a complex problem is to identify the problem. Is to identify the problem. So the problem mostly is defined. Okay, so like how someone said, to build a house, that's it, the problem that has been defined. But you need to identify the real problem. So let's look at this quote by Albert Einstein. He says that if I had an hour to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about the solution. Wow. I want someone to just unmute himself or herself and share with me why you think Albert Einstein would say this. And is this even relevant? He says that if I have 1 hour to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about the solution. Why this? Who would like to share?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning, Kenneth.
I believe he said this because having a greater understanding of the problem at hand will give you a better understanding on the kind of solution that you can give to that problem.
Perfect, Kenneth. Perfect. So you see, if you don't understand the problem, you wouldn't be able to solve it. So identifying the main problem is key. So someone says that thinking about the problem gives you the platform to analyze and bring about best efficient solutions. Great. So you see, you would need to spend time identifying the real problem. It's key because you see, if you're able to identify the real problem, then you'll be able to solve the problem. But if you're not able to identify the root cause, you're not able to identify the real problem, you might provide solutions, but it won't solve anything. So someone says that the little percentage left to be for the execution of the solution. Yeah, that's great. So you see, you need to really understand and get to identify what is wrong. The real thing, the real cause of the problem before you start, thinking about solution. Yeah, so Stella says that because when you're able to figure out the problem, solution come easy. Exactly. So if you're able to identify the real problem, so in this instance, you're talking about the real problem. If you're able to identify the real problem, then you'll be able to do what? You'll be able to change or profile solution that will change the problem. But what do we see around? We have people, profiling, talking about solutions without even getting to understand the real problem. So you understand, I'm not trying to be politically biased. I'm not here to talk about MPP or NDC, but someone talked about, the economy, and I want to cite this example. Like, when the current government was in opposition, they used to criticize, the former government a lot, talking about when the, economy is weak, the CD would, expose you and all that. And I think at a point, the former president said that you've never been president before, so you don't understand what you're saying. And then when they got the opportunity to lead, they're also being affected by the same thing. But in their time, they were, profiling, solutions, say, do this, do that, do that, do that. But I think that they didn't really know what was wrong. And so you could say that, hey, do this, because you think that you're looking at the problem at a surface level. And so you profile solutions that will just solve, the problem at the surface level. But if it solves the problem only at the surface level, the root is still beneath, and that will still bring forth more problems. Do you understand? So it is key that as an individual who wants to solve problems, you get to understand the real problem you have to deal with. If you tackle the real problem, then all other things will be resolved. All other things will be resolved. So someone says, Christopher says that taking time to understand the problem, cause of the problem makes it easier to get solution. That's true. So now let's go and look at how we would be able to identify the real problem to be solved, the real problem. So methods for identifying the real problem to be solved. There are a lot of ways, there are a lot of methods, there are a lot of them. But I'm just going to talk about this too. The 5 why and the first principle. So with some of you with the engineering background, I'm sure you might be exposed to the the first principle way of thinking and problem solving. I don't know if any of you have been exposed to this, but I'm sure, and then we have the reverse, thinking and all that. Now, when it comes to the first principle way of solving problem, we are saying that break the problem into its basic element or unit. Do you understand? We'll be seeing some examples in the next slides. Break the problem into its basic unit. So let's go back to some examples that I think people shared concerning concerning complex problems. So someone says that the need to increase sales, economic state of economy. So let's use the need to increase sales. Now, to use the first principle of problem solving, you ask yourself, okay, so what are the basic units of sales? The basic, like the foundation. So that's where you start thinking from. What is the foundation? And someone will ask, how would you even get there? How can you get to the basic unit? How can you get to the foundation? You apply the 5 why. To get to the root, you apply the 5 why. How do you apply the 5 why? So let's get into the next slide. So now we have this problem. So this is the problem that has been defined. The sales of Nestle Ghana Limited is, declining. This is a problem. Is it not a problem? It is. The problem has been defined. The sales of Nestle Ghana is dwindling or declining. Now, to break it down into its basic or the first principle, basic elements, basic foundation, we are going to apply 5 whys. We are going to ask ourselves why this is happening. So when you come up with with an answer, you question yourself again, why that? So let me cite this example. The sales of Nestle Ghana Limited is declining. Why is the sales of Nestle Ghana declining? Who would like to, just mention why the sales of Nestle Ghana would decline? Who would like to share? Why would the sales of Nestle Ghana decline? Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go for it. I think someone is was
Competition.
competition. Great. Great. So competition can cause the sales of Nestle Ghana to decline. What else? What else? Okay, I think people have change in quality. Yeah, so we have competition, we have change in quality. Quality, packaging. Okay, what else? So I think you can speak, you can type. Bad PR. Okay. So yeah, increase of price. I see that too. Brandon. Okay. Expensive to afford. Okay. So now you see that location, price increase. So you see that as we spoke about, there's a complex problem. So you all can attest to the fact that there are a lot of factors that can affect the sales of Nestle Ghana. But let's break them into, let's see, do we have enough substitute goods? Yeah. So competition, the first one is competition. The second one is poor marketing. So let's see, branding. And then we can also look at manpower. Do we have enough salespeople? Salespeople. So let's say we come up with all that we have. We have like 3 or 4 people. 4 points. Now the next question is, why is branding affecting Nestle Ghana negatively? Do you understand? Why is branding affecting Nestle Ghana negatively? So we have poor branding. So what do you mean by poor branding? Do you understand? Why is competition affecting Nestle Ghana negatively? So when you ask yourself, why is this affecting us? Why is this having impact on us? It will take you. So why do you think competition would affect Nestle Ghana poorly? So let's share again, why you think that competition? Okay. Yeah.
With the competition, probably there's another product on the market which is also serving the same quality or probably even better quality. And also with how much the product costs, maybe it's actually cheaper.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you very much for sharing. So yes, so we we got to understand, or we got to understand that competition is affecting Nestle Ghana negatively because there might be some competitors who are offering the same quality but at a lower price. Do you understand? So if this is happening, then the next question to that, so we expanded to, okay, so why is it that they are producing oh, okay, sorry, yeah, can you see I hope the black thing has moved. So someone was saying that he's seeing some black pop-up. Sorry. Now, the next question, the next why will be that why is it that our competitors are providing same quality but at a lower price? So if you ask the next why, it will tell you maybe they are being efficient with their resource. Do you understand? They are being efficient with their resource, and so they are able to provide the same quality but lower price. So you see, if you keep on asking this why to the fifth one, you'll be able to identify that, okay, the real problem is that we are not being efficient with our resources. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you get to the root cause. We started from Nestle Ghana declining because, and then we asked why, and we came up with some 3 bullets. And then we are trying to dwell on one, but we have to do same for all the bullets that will come out with. But we are dwelling on competition, and we ask that why is it that competition is affecting Nestle Ghana negatively, and realize that we have a competitor who is providing same quality, but at a lower price. So we've asked the why how many times? Like, I think 1, 2, 3. We've asked it 3 times. So we asked why, and we got competition. We asked why, we got same price but same quality but lower pricing. And then when we asked another why, we realized that our competitors are being efficient with their resources. We can also identify that probably they are getting cheaper, raw materials, or they are getting, quality raw materials, but at a cheaper price. Do you understand? So we can ask, why are we not? So that would be like the fourth why. Why are they getting, quality, raw materials, but at a cheaper price? Then probably we'll get to understand that maybe they are buying from, a market in Ghana, but not outside Ghana. So with this, you realize I started from competition, but the real thing wasn't competition. So if you decide to compete with them without identifying the real problem, in the long term, you'll be out of business, because you might decide, okay, let's fight them with pricing. Meanwhile, you've not checked the real problem of efficiency or getting, quality raw materials at a lower price, which will make you competitive. You've not checked that. You are just, okay, we're going to run promos. So because you identify the problem is, okay, our competitors have quality but low price. Okay, we are going to do same. And then you begin to also, run with them. By the time you realize you're out of cash. I don't know if you guys get it. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So asking the 5 why will take you to the root cause. So if we get to know that, okay, we are, facing tight competition because, our competitors have high quality and low price, and that is happening because they are being efficient with their resources, and also, they are getting cheaper raw materials. Then we'll be able to go back and find out, okay, how much are we buying? Okay, it looks like ours is expensive. So we need to change that. We need to probably change the people who are giving us the raw materials, or we need to go back and negotiate. So you see that you solve the main problem. And then it will trickle up. You see that, okay, now we'll have enough, to save. And so we can also cut down on our price because we have solved the real problem. But most of the times, people don't do this. People don't identify the real problem. They just touch on the fruit instead of touching on the root. They don't apply the principle of the first principle of thinking. They just, hey, there is a problem. So the sales of Nestle Ghana is dwindling or declining. So what do we do? Okay, let's do the, no. They don't identify the problem. But you guys need to be different. And you can apply this everywhere, anywhere. At your workplace, if there's a problem, you shouldn't be, fast at, giving solutions. You should rather be asking questions. Why is this happening? Why is that? So every stage you get to, you ask another why. So you get to the 5th. Sometimes, not necessarily you get to the 5th. Sometimes you get to the 4th, the 3rd, and then you get to identify the real problem. But you need to keep asking, why is this happening? Why is that happening? Why is this happening? Do you understand? Is it clear?
Sure.
Okay. So there is a case study for all of us. There is a case study for all of us. So I'm going to break you guys into smaller groups, and you're going to apply this principle. You're going to identify. So let me see. Let me take the water platform so as you guys can have access to it. So I'll post it on the water platform. So I'll break you guys into smaller groups. You have 7 minutes. I don't know if it's clear. Okay. So I'll post it on the WhatsApp platform. You guys can check if it's clear, if it's not, maybe. So you discuss, please identify the real problem in this situation. Applying what you've been taught. Identify the real problem. And then we'll come back and we'll share. As I mentioned, it's not going to be just theories. We are really going to learn, practical skills that we can apply, in our working environment. I hope that is clear. So please, when you get into your breakout groups, don't keep quiet. Please participate, share. You have 7 minutes to discuss this. Okay, so you will see join on your screen. Kindly join in. Oh, Damson says he's not on the WhatsApp platform. Damson, can you please put your number in the chat? One of my guys will add you to the platform. Period.
Sorry, I think my net. Oh,
Okay, great. We are all welcome back to the main room. So I want us to share how was it fun, collaborating with other people, and even before we get into the problems you're able to discover. Was it fun? Was it interesting? Would anyone want to share? How was the experience, in the breakout groups? Who want to share? Anyone? Yeah, Damson.
All right. Hi. Initially, I was in room 2, but later moved to room 7. So I will share both experiences in each group. Hello, am I audible there?
Yeah, we can hear you, Damson.
Okay, so in room 2, we were there for about 3 minutes. The place was silent until I heard one voice that, are we ready? So there was no response. So I decided to go back to the WhatsApp page to read the case study. So when I returned, they've moved me from that group to a different group. And before I got there too, they were already in the discussion mode, and I began to share my my ideas. Then the session ended.
Okay, great. Thank you. So yeah, so I realized that some groups were quiet, people were not sharing, but I think I sent a text to all of you in your groups that one person should take the leadership role and then engage the group. I realized some groups were very quiet. And so that is why I'm saying I moved you. So I realized that the groups that were very quiet, I decided to move them to the other groups that were having the discussions. Thanks for sharing your experience. So Michael says that it was smooth. The Zoom platform is really efficient. Yeah, it is. Okay, great. So now let's get into our discussion. So which group would like to start first? What did you find out? Were you able to apply the principle, and what did you discover? So which group would like to go first? Which group? So one person from each group just share. And please, one thing I want to share one thing with you. Keep your groups. I took pictures of it. So if you don't know your group, I'll repost it again. Keep your groups. We'll be going back, to apply the other things we'll be learning. So, we're able to come up with solutions, and it's supposed to be the same group. So as, you guys can be able to, continue from where you stopped from. So please keep your groups. So yeah, so let's share. What did you discover? What is the problem that needs to be solved? What is the root problem? So who would like to share? Who would like to start? Who would like to start? Please don't be quiet. You can raise your hand. I would ask you to speak. Who would like to start? Is it that we didn't have any discussion? Okay, so I think Stella, please go for it.
Yeah, I didn't get time to share my idea. You moved me to a different group, so I think that are we talking about the solution or the problem?
So we are talking about the problem. So what problem did you identify?
The airline has too much burden, like they are handling too much at the same time. That's the problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you apply the 5 why principle and realize that they have too much, burden. Okay.
They are handling too much. There should be a delegation.
Okay. I wish you could have taken us through the journey. So maybe you asked, okay, why did he lose? Okay, he lost it because that. Okay, why did I don't know if you want to share that. If not,
okay, the airline is supposed to book a hotel room, right, and handling luggages for clients. So I think that they can delegate. They can share responsibilities. Maybe you get it. Maybe you and different session handling, or maybe they can let that handle of luggages to other companies, or maybe booking a hotel room. They should leave it for. I think the airline is doing too much at the same time, trying to, but they are holes which they are not really seeing. They maybe because of the money, but if they really looking for customer satisfaction, they will break rules. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for sharing, Stella. So I see in the chat box that we so yeah, let me Imano, go for it. Imano.
Hello.
Yeah, hello, Nimano.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah,
so the
hello,
problem
Nimano.
here is going to be the luggage. The problem here is obviously a luggage haul issue from the flight or the airline. So they have a problem with loading the baggages on time, or maybe loading the baggages before takeoff. So what they have to do, are we speaking about the problem now or just the solution?
The problem. We are trying to identify.
The problem is obviously a luggage haul issue and the check-in point, how they handle or when they put the bags into the plane. So that's a problem. So that's why you see
Okay.
from.
Okay. Your group, were you able to apply the 5 whys?
Yeah, we did, but we didn't have enough time.
Okay, great. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for sharing. I think I saw another hand up. I don't know. So I see something else in the chat box. Says that, but we found the problem to be also poor luggage tracking system. Okay, so according to another group, they realized that the airline they have a good, luggage tracking system, and so that is the problem. I don't know if they apply the 5 whys, but if you did, you see that you identify, you might not just identify one thing. There might be some other possibilities. In this instance, we are just looking at all the possible causes. Do you understand? Then we get to the root cause. Then we get to the root cause. So great. You all have identified some problems. You all have identified some problems. One thing I don't want you guys to do is to assume. In problem solving, we realize that most of the times people tend to have some some assumption or some mindset that it's supposed to be like this, but if you think that way, it blocks your mind and you're not able to explore other, options. So whenever you're tackling a problem, don't assume, don't, look at it with some preconceived mindset. Be open-minded, look at all the possibilities. Don't just conclude on one. Look at all the possibilities that, okay, it could be this, it could be that, it could be that, it could be that. Look at all the possibilities. Do you understand? So that's one thing I want to share with you guys. Don't close your mind to read that it has to go through this way, it has to be this. No, there might be other things. Okay, so now, after we have identified our problem, so at this stage, we are just trying to identify the root cause. We are just trying to identify the problem. We are not even talking about solution. We are not talking about solution. We are talking about, okay, what is the problem? After we've been able to identify certain metrics, like when we were talking about the sales issue, we identify competitors, we identify branding, we identify salespeople. After we've been able to identify all of these, now we need to gather information. Do you understand? You identify, the problem, you gather information. Someone will say, why don't we gather information before we identify the problem? You see, if we start with information gathering first before identify the problem, then we'll get into the space of information overload, because what are you going to look for? Do you understand? But if we are able to, how we came up with a sales assignment, the first one that we did, we had competitors, we had branding, we had sales. So even with this that you guys were talking about, with the case study, talked about tracking and all that. So now we find information. Okay, let's find information on their tracking system. Do they have a very good tracking system? What is the processes? So if you go in, because now you know what you are looking for. Do you understand? So that is why I told you that you shouldn't close your mind to only one thing, assuming that the problem will just be one thing. But you ask yourself, what are the possible causes? And if you're able to come up with the possible causes, now when you're going in to look for information, you know the kind of information you're going to look for. Do you understand? So there'll be nothing like information overload that you're just searching everything, there's no direction. No, now there is direction. Now, okay, I'm looking for information on tracking. So how do they track their luggages? So with that information, then you'll be able to, okay, some of them you have to benchmark. So let's say with a sales bit, let's talk about like salespeople. Sales of Nestle Ghana is dwindling or declining because we don't have enough salespeople. So the question will be, why don't we have enough salespeople? It's because our remuneration is not competitive. Why is our remuneration not competitive? It's because we are not making enough profits, and all that. That one too can take you. So you can see even that one can still go back and take you, okay, so why are we not making enough profit? Maybe our processes, it takes you back to efficiency. Do you understand? So it might take you to the same root cause. So, but let's even end that, okay, we don't have enough, sales associates because our remuneration is not competitive. We realize that, okay, that is the core problem. It's because our remuneration is not competitive. So now if you're going to find information, you're finding information on, okay, so what is our competitors giving other people that is attracting them? So you can benchmark what you are doing against the industry, against your competitors, depending on, the circumstance. With the tracking, you can also find information, okay, what are the processes involved? Then you'll be able to identify, okay, it looks like, based on the information you get, some at this stage of the process, things go wrong. So you'll be able to identify the problem. But, when you find information, you might find out that no, like everything is fine with this. So it means that there are other things. Do you understand? So if you close your mind to just one problem, and then you gather information, you realize that, oh, it is not that problem. Like, that with that process or with what you were thinking was a problem, everything is fine. It means you have to go back again and identify the root problem. So in the first instance, identify all the possible causes and then gather information. Look out for, okay, when it comes to tracking, what is it? When it comes to this, what is it? Find information. And how can you find information? You can conduct interviews. So when we talk about interview, this is like a formal way. But if it's like a problem you have to deal with an interpreter, you can just engage people, ask them, okay, if it has to do with customers, if it has to do with sales people, depending on whatever you are doing, you can engage the people who are involved to really understand what is happening. Do you understand? You can identify, and study statistics. So then you can pick statistics. Okay, what is happening? So you see, you are gathering information, but not in a vacuum. You are gathering information because you have some key things you are looking for. You can send questionnaires out to employees, to customers, to other people concerned with the problem. I don't know if you get it. So, you identify, okay, so who does this problem affect? Who is involved? Who are the key stakeholders? So when we talk about, I didn't say shareholders, but stakeholders. Stakeholders are, people that are affected directly or indirectly by whatever you are doing. Do you understand? So employees, customers, other people around and all that. You can engage them to understand. So based on your information, then you'll be able to really identify what the problem, because you can't just assume. But if you gather information, then you can observe the procedure. So when it comes to the tracking, you can go to the airline, observe how they go about the processes firsthand. Then you'll be able to realize, oh no, this is wrong. So then that is the problem. So we need to change this. We need to provide maybe a service or a product that will change this. We need to change this process. Do you understand? Is it clear? Any question? If you have any question on what has been shared, you can raise your hand. You can type it in the chat. If it's clear to you, you can let me know it's clear. Then we can move on. Is it clear? Everyone is quiet.
Please elaborate more on the observe the procedures or processes in question first time.
Okay. So we are saying that observe the procedure or processes and the question first time. Now, when we talk about that, we are saying that, okay, if it's like the problem has to do with a procedure, like based on when you identify the problems, you identify that, okay, it has to do with a process, like the tracking. It looks like there is an issue with the tracking process, or there's an issue with, offloading or unloading the luggage onto the plane and all that. There's an issue. That's a procedural problem. Do you understand? So we are saying that, okay, why don't you go in and observe how it is being done? And then as you see, the processes they are going through, you'll be able to identify that, oh no, maybe before you, so let's say that when it comes to the luggage, they don't track them. They don't put any tracking machine on them when they are unloading, when they are getting them onto the plane, let me put it that way. but they only track it, like put a tracker on it when they are offloading. So you get to your destination and then they are bringing it out. Then, they put some tracker on it so as the customer, will be able to find it when they get to the airport. Do you understand? But, if you observe this process, you'll be able to understand that, oh no, why don't we put a tracking machine immediately? They hand over their luggages to us so as we'll be able to track it. Why don't we develop a software that will track this? Why don't we do this? You understand? So because you have a first-hand information about how the processes goes through, you'll be able to proffer solutions and products. So that is why we are saying that you need to observe what happens. And then, based on that, if the problem is from there, you'll be able to identify that, oh no, this is why, people are losing their luggages. And so we need to fix this. Do you understand? Okay, so great, thank you. So after we have gathered information, we are moving into the third step. Do you understand? So, we came up with some possible causes and all that. We've gathered information to really, identify. So during information gathering, sometimes you go back to identify the problem because you might get some new insights, so you go back, So in this process, by the end of this process, you'll be able to really identify the core, issues based on facts. Do you understand? It won't just be mere, guess or mere assumption, but it will be based on facts. Then after you've been able to identify the root cause, the right problem, we get into developing and analyzing what possible solutions. Because now we know the problem, not just based on assumption, but based on what hardcore information or facts. Because we've gathered information in that regard, and we know that okay, this is the real problem. So now we are going to develop and analyze a possible solution. And in analyzing, okay, so yeah, someone said that, just to chip in this, it wasn't clear it was air travel or not. So as we very specific on flights, plane, etc., are we supposed to be a little cautious? Yeah, so let's just put it that this was someone who was traveling by air. Someone was traveling by air. I hope that is clear. So let's just keep it like that. So as it doesn't become cumbersome. So let's keep it like he traveled by air. Yeah, thank you for letting me know. So now we are going to look at how to develop and analyze possible solutions. I told you that all these processes are scientific. We are not doing guess games, that we are trying to guess, no. All these that we are doing are scientific. So now, how will we be able to analyze? How will we be able to develop and analyze the possible solutions? We are going to use a principle called the MISI. The MISI technique. I don't know if any of you have heard about the MISI technique. We are going to use a MISI technique to develop and analyze possible solutions. When we talk about MISI, the M stands for mutually, the E stands for exclusive, the C stands for collectively, and then the E stands for the exhaustive. So mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive, sorry. But in solution, most of the time, some people also use this for problem, identifying the problem. So I told you that there are lots of methods that you can use to identify a problem. So some people use MISI to identify a problem, but we are going to use it to identify, to develop and analyze possible solutions. But mostly I would recommend that when it comes to the solution, you use a instead of the MISI, use the SIMI. So collectively exhaustive and then mutually exclusive. So when we talk about MISI or SIMI, we are trying to say that you need to consider all possible solutions in an efficient manner to a problem. Do you understand? All possible solutions. So when we talk about collectively exhaustive, we are saying that you need to first think about all possible solutions, eliminating gaps. And when we talk about mutually exclusive, we are saying that you should look at solutions that does not, conflict. Like you don't say the same solution twice. No overlapping. Do you understand? No overlapping. So let's get into it. Collective exhaustive. So collective exhaustive, we are saying that, okay, with this problem that we've identified, what are all the possible solutions? And with this, we are talking about what? Divergent thinking, which is also known as creative thinking or innovative thinking. You don't block your mind. In this instance, you don't think about resources. You don't think about time. You don't think, you see, most of the times when you start thinking about the constraints that, okay, we don't have enough time, we don't have enough resources, then you close your mind. So you're not able to think about innovative ways of solving the problem. So at this stage, you don't think about whether we have the resources to do it or not. Just think about all the possible solutions. All the possible solutions. And this is how you can become very creative. Most of the times, most people are not creative because it's like there is one way of thinking, because they feel like, okay, we are constrained by resources, we are constrained by time, and so this is not possible. So let's not even worry ourselves, let's just do this. No. You don't solve problem like that. Especially, with us, with this generation, no, employers are not looking for people that will just think in one direction. They are looking for people that will look at all other, like they are looking for people that feels like everything under the earth is possible. And that is how you need to think when you're solving problems. So you exhaust all the possibilities. So that's what the CE represents. Collective word, exhaustive. You exhaust it. Divergent thinking. It will give you the big picture as you are including everything. So you are looking for solutions. So what are the possible solutions? Okay, so we can do this. We can do that. So at this stage, you don't tell people, no, what you are saying is not possible. No, that statement is not used. Anything is possible. So just allow people to think and explore. You just allow yourself to think and explore. Allow people to think and explore. Let's just come up with solutions. Just be thinking and be writing it down. So to produce this, you are thinking of what else. So when you come up with one solution, you ask yourself, what else? What else can be done? 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 So you just come up, you are just developing the solution. No constraint. What else could be a potential solution for my problem? Do you understand? So you're just thinking about the potential solutions. Potential solutions. Then with the mutually exclusive, it also requires critical thinking, but this one convergent thinking. So now with this, you are saying that, okay, we are not going to mention, when you say something is mutually exclusive, we are saying that, there is like no intermediate or intersect. They don't intersect. So you are now looking at, okay, you don't mention any solution twice. Do you understand? Every solution should be mentioned once. So if, and at this stage, you begin to group them. So let's say if anything has to do with tracking, you put all of them under one group. So they don't intersect. Do you understand? So you begin to group the solutions into groups. So, okay, so like how you can see this Venn diagram, so when it comes to A, you put all the solutions that relate to A in A. All the solutions that relate to B in B. So you begin to group them. group them, so okay, initially you thought about all the possible, solutions, and now you are beginning to group them. Okay, so some of them will be related, some of them will be same, you clear them. So you make sure you just have one solution. You don't have repeated, solution. That one doesn't make sense. You just have one, and then the ones that are related, you group them under one, and then you have one heading for them. So you group them under one, you have one heading. So you group them, you begin to group them. And some will also start from the Missy. So Missy is that you start with a grouping. So okay, you look at what possible solution. Okay, tracking system. So that one is one group. Then you begin to come up with, okay, how can I exhaust this? What are the ways we can profile solution using a tracking system? So okay, we need to develop a software, we need to develop this. Do you understand? So some will start from the theme, or the group name, and then they look at possible solutions, so you can do that. Do you understand? But sometimes that one doesn't really bring out creative thinking. But rather, if you start from all possible solutions, it gives you the opportunity to explore. Then after, you come back and group them. Do you understand? So it can be any of these ways. Is it clear? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we are going to apply this principle again to our problem. So I'm going to break you guys into another breakout groups, and then you analyze, come up with some solutions, possible solutions for the problem you identified, using Missy. So you guys should explore, look at all the possible solutions you can come up with, and then group them into into teams. So it'd be like tracking. It can be let's say training. So training, then, and I maybe train those who offload the this one, the luggage, train these people, so you put them under teams, so beautifully. So I'm going to break you guys. This one I'm going to do it manually. So you need to just get into the breakout group you were in. I don't know if you guys already know that. If not, I can help you with that. I can put that one too on the page, and then you just identify it. Okay, so you see on your screen the option to choose a breakout group. Kindly choose the one that you were already in. Kindly choose the one that you were already in. If you want me to assist, I can. Yeah, okay, I think some people already chosen. Yeah, so please do that. Hi, are we all back? Okay, I think some people are still trying to get back. How was it? Who would like to share the experience? Was it fun? Was it interesting? Was it
Yes,
collaborative? Yeah, Kenneth.
it was very interesting and
Wow.
collaborative.
Wow. Thanks for sharing. Wow. Yeah. I think someone else wanted to talk. Was it fun? Did you like the experience? Okay. So now let's get into it. Yeah, it was all teamwork. Great, Stella. Good to hear that. So let's get into it. Were you guys able to come up with some solutions, using Missy or Simi, like thinking, looking at all the possible options and then after grouping them, so any group can start, I'm trying to be within time. We have 7 minutes to end, as we mentioned, we went at 12. So I'm very excited if you guys can start sharing so as we can end on time.
Okay, so this is from group 5.
Okay, group 5.
Yes, and we prefer to use the CE before the ME. So we
Okay.
thought creatively before we did the divergent thinking.
Okay.
We looked at various possible solutions. We had great contributions such as training on how to operate softwares, updating of softwares, maintenance of hardware components, and the airline should allow customers to handle delicate or portable luggage, adhering to protocols, enforcing regulations on passengers with luggage.
Okay.
Those were under our creative thinking aspect.
Okay.
And then moving on to the mutually exclusive. At that point, from what we learned earlier, I believe with a mutually exclusive, we're supposed to group all our various possible ideas into groups.
Yeah.
Okay, so from our point, we grouped the updating of softwares, maintenance of hardware components, and things associated with technology and software all under technology advancement.
Okay.
Okay, so I think that's all I can add for now.
Okay, great. Thanks for sharing. So they did see me. They, exploited all the possible solutions and then they came back to group them. And in the grouping, you make sure that you don't have same thing appearing twice. Do you understand? So that's the mutually exclusive. It should be mutually exclusive, so you don't have the same thing appearing here and appearing there. So thanks so much for sharing, Kenneth. So that was from group 5. Which other group would like to share? Which other group would like to share? Any other group? Hey, was the only group 5 that did the assignment? Michael says that group 5 has said everything. Oh, please, you guys too should share. What you guys discussed. They are too good. I want one more group to share, and then we'll move on to the next, process or the next step. Just one more group.
Hello, Prezi, group 4.
Okay. Yeah.
Group 4. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you
Yes,
loud and clear.
I didn't join fully, but we're discussing probable solution. We were also looking at training. We're looking at training, and we said the staff should be trained, and they have to have scheduled training. That is every morning. Every morning they have to be oriented. The company should make assumptions that they know what to do. They have to be oriented about their work every morning, apart from the specialized training that is maybe every 3 weeks or monthly. Then there should also be training for the passengers, a form of training, either videos or write-ups like postages on the airport or sound messages to at least brief them about how to go about handling their luggages and all that. That's why we also discussed.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So from what, from where you started from, it means that it looks like you use MISI, you identify the thematic areas like training, and then you began to, look at the probable solutions, So yeah, so as I mentioned, you can see me or MISI, any of them, you can start with a thematic, areas. Okay, when based on and you see, this has to be connected to the problem. It's not a standalone. So based on the problem that you identified, okay, we think there is a need for training. So under training, okay, what are we going to do? What are the probable solutions? Then you come up with ideas. So that's MISI. So you identify training, maybe you identify tracking system, you identify the key things as the thematic areas, and then, you think through. So like how you were saying, it can be video, so that's an option. It can be write-ups, it can, there are other options that we can look at. So we don't close our minds to just one. So thank you very much, for sharing. So we are getting into the next step. So the next step is to select a solution. So you see, where we started from. We had a problem. The problem was defined, but we came up with ways to identify the real problem, utilizing the 5 whys and then the first principle, breaking down the solution to the basic element, and then we went on to, gathering data to really help us identify or solidify, the problem, that truly this is the problem. Do you understand? So we gathered data, and then we came on to, so after we identified the data, the problem, through the data gathering, we got to know that really, this is a problem. We came on to how then do we come up with solutions? And then we identify MISI or CMI that, okay, now we look at all possible solutions, and after we group them. So we've done all this, but I've not selected the solution yet. We've come up with some solutions, but I've not selected what exactly we are going to do. Do you understand? So now the next stage is, after we have the possible solutions, we are going to select a solution. We are going to select a solution. And also this, we are going to do that scientifically, So, to select a solution, I'm going to look at, okay, so we take every solution that we came up with, we're going to look at the pros and the cons. Okay, so what are, the possible, we are just going to think through, okay, with this solution, is it possible? And this is where the constraint comes in. Okay, do we have the resources to do this? Do we have the time? Okay, what can we do? So you identify with all the problems you have, you now look at the pros and the cons, benchmarking them against the constraints and all that. Do you understand? Benchmarking them against the constraint. Okay, I think that, okay, with this solution, maybe this can be a long-term plan, this can be a medium-term plan, this can be a short-term plan. Because with the resources and the constraint that we have, the time constraint, we might not be able to do this. But with the resources and the time that we have, we'll be able to do this solution. But this solution can be a long term, a short term, a middle, So in this process, you're looking at the pros and the cons of all the solutions you came up with. All the solutions we came up with, and then after you've done the pros and cons, now you come in to prioritize the solution. That, okay, with all these solutions, which of them can we do now? Which of them is very important? Which of them will really solve the problem? Do you understand? So you prioritize them. Okay, maybe training, would we'll handle the solution, totally. And maybe so the next one is, okay, after training, if we do training, maybe we can put in software, okay, after that. So you prioritize them. They're okay. Based on all the solutions you have, this is the most important one. This is the one that can really solve the problem. You prioritize. Then after you've prioritized, you select the best 3 to 4 solutions. Most of the times, it shouldn't go beyond 4. Do you understand? You should have like 3 or 4 solutions that you select. So if you have about 100 of them, you take the first 4. Do you understand? Maximally 5, to implement. Do you understand? Maximally 5 to implement. I hope it is clear. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, great. So we're supposed to do another breakout group to select our solutions, but I think we are 2 minutes past time. So I think that, or should we do the breakout group for, let's say, 1 minute, 2 minutes? If not, we can just, I believe you understand the concept. So after you have selected the solution, the next step is to implement the solution. Do you understand? So you select the best 4, best 5, and then you implement them. And there is a lot of things about also the solution implementation. That is why these 2 steps, I just had them as bullets, because if we also want to get into it, I'm sure we'll need more than 2 hours, because some of them you need to really adapt, like you need to go through change management processes, if you understand. Because if you are going to train people, you're going to change systems, you need to go through the change management process. You need to engage the people. Do you understand? Because you can imagine that you say in an office that, okay, we are not being efficient because we are using typewriters, we are going to introduce computers. Some people wouldn't be happy. Why? Because they feel like, I'm used to typewriters, this computer, is it that you want me to lose my job? So you need to go through the change management processes to, you have to engage them. You have to let them know that they don't have to fear, they are not going to lose their job. So that's a whole lot of processes that I need to go through. Let's say you want to introduce an accounting software. Some people might reject it because they feel like they might lose their job, because if the system is doing everything, then what are they going to do? Do you understand? So this is like a whole issue on its own, that if you find the right problem and you are not able to implement it well, things might go wrong. Do you understand? If you get the right solution, but the implementation does not go on well, and I'm sure that as we engaging ourselves on this, soft skills academy, and we'll come up with trainings like that to help you, really implement proper solutions. So we will touch on, change management and all that, as to how you can bring change in the working environment when you identify, a problem and you profile solution, and it has to, go through change. And then evaluating the outcome. So we are saying that you need to put in some control measures. So, okay, we've put in this solution, we're expecting this should happen. You need to keep on evaluating to check that, okay, whatever change you are expecting to see, or whatever, positive signal you are expecting to see is happening. If it's not happening, go by, okay, why didn't it happen? What's the issue? So you keep evaluating the outcome to make sure that you're achieving, the right results. Okay, time for questions. If you have any question, pardon me, we've exceeded our time by 5 minutes. I'm so sorry that has happened. We're expecting that we would have closed on time, exactly 12 o'clock, but I'm sure in the next 5 minutes we should end. But if you have any question, you can put it in the chat box. You can ask, unmute yourself and ask. If not, to I don't know, maybe you'll be able to reach any of the admin on the WhatsApp platform, and you can also channel those questions to them, and I'm sure we'll resolve them for you. So if there are no questions, then I will say that thank you all very much for coming onto this call.
I have a question.
Okay, great. Please go ahead and ask.
Yes. I want to first of all commend you for such a great presentation. Although I didn't join early, but the little I have seen and heard is quite good. But pragmatically, as in practically, some of these steps and processes seems achievable, but looking at our country and our continent, we have so much problems, and a lot of people have studied some of these things. So what can you really say we do about it? Personally, how can we personally apply some of these principles to our personal challenges and the corporate challenges around us?
Okay, great. So as I mentioned, when it comes to problem solving, the main thing, I don't know if you joined from the beginning, I'm sure it would have been very helpful for you to, this question would have been answered if you had joined in from the beginning. From the beginning, we told ourselves that, okay, we are going to identify the real problems. You see, as someone talked about the economy, most of the times you're unable to identify the real problem. And so it's like we are providing solutions, but the solutions are not working because we didn't identify the real problem. So we spoke about the 5 why and the first principle that, okay, when you come up like, and we talked about Nestle Ghana, that, okay, Nestle Ghana sales is declining. So, okay, we are going to identify the real problem and we apply the 5 why. Why is Nestle Ghana losing sales? And we came up with some, okay, branding, we came up with key things, thematic areas, competition. So the question was, why is our competitors, winning the market share and not us? Do you understand? Then we came up, okay, our competitors are providing same quality as we are providing, but their prices are lower. So the next why came in, okay, so why is it that they are providing the same quality, but then their prices are low? So we got to know that, okay, it looks like they are being efficient. So the real problem is that they are being efficient and not because they are providing the same price. So if you want to tackle the problem from the surface level, you wouldn't find a proper answer. And so you put in some solutions and it wouldn't work. So I, as an individual, if you have, a problem, you ask yourself, okay, why is this happening? It will take you to the next layer. Okay, this is happening because of this, that. Then you question that one too. Okay, so if let's say this is happening, then why is that? So if you keep on asking the why, you get to understand the real problem and then you'll be able to find solution. Okay, so after you identify the real problem with information gathering based on the situation, so we talked about gather information. Okay, so you ask people, you talk to people and all that to really find out if the problem you got to identify is a real problem. Then you think of, okay, so what are the possible solutions? You think why, you think creatively, you think about the possible solutions, and then you're able to solve your problem.
Thank you. I think I've gotten something good to work with.
Okay, so someone is saying that I couldn't perfectly grasp the application. So let's say, assuming problem is lateness to school. Great. So let's take lateness to school. So the first question is, so Amma is always late to school, right? That's a problem. So the first why is Amma always late to school? Do you understand? So you don't just take Amma is late to school and you whip Amma or you cane her and you think that is the solution. That won't solve anything. It's like you're touching on the fruit. You never touched on the root. Do you understand? So you apply the 5 whys. Why is Amma always late to school? Amma is always late to school because, let's say, Amma lives very far from the school. Amma is late to school. So why is Amma living very far from? So let's use that portion. When we talked about a complex problem, we said that it has multiple variables, but let's just go on one tangent. Amma is always late to school because Amma lives very far from the school. One, why does Amma live very far from the school? Amma live very far from the school because maybe Amma is living with his parents, and his parents maybe work at whatever, and so that is why they are there. So you get to know, okay, so as I mentioned, you might not ask all the 5 whys. Sometimes asking just 2 or 3 whys, you get to know the real, issue. So now, Amma is late to school, not because Amma wants to be late to school, but probably maybe because Amma lives very far from the school. You gather information to justify if truly Amma lives very far from the school. You realize that Amma walks, 10 kilometers to the school every day. So that is information that you gather. Now you come to the MISI. So with the MISI, looking at the SIMI or the MISI, the SIMI or MISI means mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. So we are saying that look at all the possible, solutions. So, okay, is it possible that we can move Amma from where he or she is staying to the school? let's say someone, she can come and stay by someone. It's a possible solution. Do you understand? At this stage, you are just looking at all the possible. Is it that Amma walk to school and so we can get a bus that can pick Amma? Is it that Amma, doesn't wake up early? That is why. So you look at all the possible solutions. You don't close your mind. So with the Missy or the Simi, I'm saying that you don't close your mind to any solution. You just think, come up with the solutions. Just come up, what are the possible, so what else? What else? So with the Missy, we talked about what else. So what else can we do? What else can we do? What else can we do? Do you understand? And so when we come up with all the what else, then now we can group them. Okay, there are some solutions that has to do with transportation. There are some solutions that maybe has to do with discipline. Maybe Amma has to wake up early. There are some solutions that may have to do with, okay, maybe Amma has to, relocate. Do you understand? So these are the thematic areas that you can all group them. So that has to do with them missing mutually exclusive. They need to be different. Relocation is different from discipline. It's different from, transportation. Do you understand? And then now you go into selecting the solution. And I told you that with a selection of solution, you take into consideration the pros and the cons. What are the constraints? Is it possible for us to move Amma, relocate Amma? Do you understand? So, so you might be like, okay, in the interim, it is not possible, but it can be a long-term solution. So maybe in the short term, what is possible is that we'll have to wake Amma up early every day so as she can prepare to school. Do you understand? Now, because you're able to identify the real problem, your solutions will be valid. And so it will be able to change the problem. But if you don't identify the real problem and you think Amma comes to school because she just wants to come to school late, and so you're every day caning her, it won't change anything. And you think that nothing is working. I don't know if you understand. Is it clear?
Yes. Yes, I think it's clear.
Okay.
It's clear.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I'll hand over to Rebecca.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bonney, for this presentation. And first, I'm hearing this and all that, but I have actually learned a lot. And I'm so happy that we have HR students from the HR field all coming to join, this program. I mean, they're going to their various offices and all that, and we have people in the corporate world also joining. I'm very, very happy for this. And we're ending, and I'd like So if you're in the sales department, etc., you will be able to know how best to go about negotiating businesses and all that. So next week, we should all make it a point to be here. The last thing I want to talk about is that we use this opportunity to encourage everyone to subscribe to our channel, our YouTube channel. This is absolutely free. Absolutely free. Everything we do here is for free. All you can do for us is just go on YouTube, Bonney Leadership Consult, and just subscribe to our channel for us, and we'll be so happy. You can also follow us on all other channels that we have, Instagram, all of that. You can follow us so that you can be abreast with all that we are doing. And we'll be also happy. I want to use this opportunity to also thank each and every one of you for making time to join this training. Thank you all for coming. And also, I want to say a big thank you to the team that made this program a success. I want to thank our communications volunteers, our communication guys, I want to thank social media, I want to thank every one of them. They have made this great, and our administrators as well. I want to say thank you so much for making this great. If there is no other question, people ask whether the recordings will be provided. Yes, we're going to provide the recordings as well. But let's remember that for you to be able to get a certificate at the end, you have to be present in all 3 sections. So let's put that in at the back of our minds. Okay, if there's no question, I'd like to end it here, but I want to find out if there's no question before I end it. If there's any question, kindly raise your hand or mute yourself and ask. Okay, I guess there's no question. So if there's no question, thank you all for coming, and I'll see you all same time next week. We are very sorry that we have exceeded our time. See you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.